All right, Mel, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Good. Now, before we get started, what I want to do is just quickly ask you to tell the viewers a little bit more about what you do here at Move Up and what uh, your role is in the background with your services at Move Up.
Sure, not a problem. So I basically oversee the office.
Mhm.
I run the British Passport Department, and of course, I do the Visitor Visa Department. And then when I do have time, I help out my other colleagues in their departments.
Yeah, you provide a lot of great back-end support. It's awesome. So now, Mel, today's session, what we want to do is just talk about visitor visas and how South Africans can travel. Obviously, the tourism sector with COVID, it's just taken such a knock. But the British government have also taken quite an interesting approach. From your side, what's happening in terms of UK travels, and can South Africans even visit the United Kingdom at the moment?
Yeah, no, it's really a shame because there's a lot of people that phone in and ask, can they go to visit family or friends in the UK? And then we have to give them the bad news that we're on the red list. And that unfortunately for red listed countries, and it's just not South Africa, they are not issuing the visitor visas. So that the British government has implemented that rule at the moment. You can not enter
Yeah.
the UK if you're from a red listed country.
And we're on that red list country list.
Yes, unfortunately, we've been on the list for like 9 months. The list was implemented in December last year, and we have not moved off that list. Even though the South African Tourism has sent them petitions asking for us to be removed, they are just not playing ball at the moment.
Yeah, this red list has a double implication. It affects South Africans that want to go visit the United Kingdom, but it also affects British nationals that come visit here. Upon return from a red list country, they too have to go through that compulsory quarantine. And so that quarantine is at a designated hotel that the British government have set aside.
Yes, so you can't pick your hotel or your a bed and breakfast or an Airbnb. It is a specific hotel. They don't
Okay.
even tell you what the hotel is. So if you book it on the British government's website, it just tells you, yes, your booking reference number. So
Sure.
when you arrive in the UK and you arrive at the hotel, you will get a very nice surprise to see what the quality is of that
Okay.
hotel.
So you don't even know what you're in for until you
Yeah,
arrive.
yeah.
Sure, that's crazy. And then in terms of what MoveUp's been doing in the background, though, we're able to still help South Africans get work permits at the moment, right?
Yes, we are helping with work permits, ancestry visas, settlement visas, student visas, because those are like essential
Okay.
for people that need to enter the UK. So we are going full blast with that at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, also the way I view it is that yeah, the visiting intent that South Africans have, it is defined as non-essential travel, and that's why they've put the block on it. My prediction at this stage is that with our current wave of infections and our newly distribution of vaccines, uh, I think the government's just going to wait for this wave to pass, and then they're going to evaluate what our distribution rate is like in terms of the infections, and only thereafter will they then look to take us off that red list. That's my hope personally. So now, Mel, tell us more about the quarantine. What is the sort of costs that South Africans are faced at the moment? Why is it such a deterrent?
It's the exchange rate basically. The pound has never been a favor for South Africans,
Mm,
never.
mm,
So at the moment for one person it's £2,285,
mm.
which is a lot of money. If you equivalent to the rand, it's like over 40,000 for one person.
Yeah,
And I mean, like to have that account of money for quarantine and then
yeah,
still do your holiday, it's
yeah,
it's a lot of money. So that's why
yeah,
the South Africans are trying,
yeah.
if they can get in, not to quarantine.
But yes, I agree with you. In our lifetime, it hasn't looked favorable, and I don't foresee it swinging anytime soon. So, Namal, now this is what I'm hoping we can find out. Is there a way that South Africans can bypass the quarantine? Do they? Is there a way around it?
Yeah, there should be ways around it by going to a green listed country for 10 to 12 days before you actually enter the UK. The problem with that is you'll just have to make sure if you pick a country that's on the green list that it stays on the green list, because you
Okay.
don't want to have the situation where you've picked the country, now you're holidaying in that country, and then suddenly they move off the green list onto the amber list or the red list.
Mm,
So doing research beforehand will always benefit people to
yeah.
make sure that they pick the correct country.
Yeah. So what you're saying though is if a South African A can get a visa for a green listed country to visit, they could theoretically go visit that green listed country and have a great holiday.
Yeah.
And then after that 2 week stay, they can then go to the UK and they can effectively enter the UK without needing to do the compulsory 10-day quarantine in the
Yeah.
UK's identified
Yeah, that's
hotels.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what countries do you know of that South Africans could do that with? What countries are accepting South Africans' visitor visa applications?
I do know from reading on social media that Croatia is a very good country. Republic of Ireland has literally just opened for vaccinated South Africans, so that can
Okay.
also be an option.
Okay.
And especially with the Republic of Ireland, you don't even have to have take a COVID test in the UK because
Okay.
it's part of the common travel area.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and then Germany's on the green list.
Okay.
They
Now that's
also
good.
are, yeah, they are also opening up for South Africans. There are other countries that are on the green list, but you'll have to do their 10-day quarantine in their country.
Okay. So you still would be forced. You wouldn't necessarily get as much outdoor
Out of the
exposure.
holiday. Yeah.
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 Okay. Yeah. So that's also a factor of interest. Just because it's on the UK's green list doesn't necessarily mean that there's no exemptions on these green listed countries. So now, Mel, what you also realize, what you said, which I've just picked up on, is that Ireland and Croatia, there are no direct flights from SA to those countries, so there'll be stopovers, and again, possibly more transit visas necessary for those countries. So that's also another factor that South Africans need to consider. But at this stage, there is a way that South Africans, whether it's going to be for work or the complication now, they still can't get that visitor visa to visit the country. So you can
Mm.
bypass the quarantine, but what we're saying here is you still can't get the British government to issue you a visitor visa so that you can go visit the UK.
Yeah, that's correct. So the TLS, which is the front of house for the British government here in South Africa,
Mm,
is the visa center. So at
yeah,
the moment, they will take in your application, but they
yeah,
will only issue you the visa once they have permission from the British government, meaning that we are off the red list,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then you can enter the UK.
Okay, so in other words, the visa application centers, they're accepting the applications at the moment,
Yeah,
but
that's correct.
and you can even pay for your visitor visa, but at the moment they're not even issuing those visas, so they're just building a backlog of
Of applications,
sure,
yeah.
sure, crazy.
I know, hey.
Yeah. But also, Mal, we've had some good news from your side, though. You've managed to talk the government into approving some visitor visas in the last week or two. Tell us more about that. How did you do that?
Yeah, so that was a compassionate ground visitor visa. So they will look at that and then make a decision if they will accept your grounds as compassionate or not, and then issue the visa. Now,
Okay.
luckily for my client, she had a minor child that was traveling to the UK to go study. And
Okay.
according to the British government, a minor child cannot travel alone.
Oh,
So we just had to make sure that we evidenced that the minor child could not travel by themselves and that there was no one on the other side to accept the child
okay. Sure.
as like a parental responsibility. So
Okay.
it took a lot of emailing back and forth to the British government
Okay.
to actually like remind them this is a compassionate grounds application.
Okay.
And it was a little bit stressful for myself and for the client,
Yeah.
but she finally got the go ahead and her visa was issued.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Great. And so what about other cases, like weddings, persons on their deathbed? Are those seen as compassionate grounds? Could we get cases turned around for that?
I I don't think they would classify a wedding as compassionate ground.
Okay.
Definitely, if someone is extremely ill in hospital and is terminally ill,
Okay.
that they will definitely have a look at those as
Okay.
being compassionate. You'll just
Yeah.
need to have proof that from like the hospitals, from the doctors overseas, that that the person is extremely ill and or maybe terminally ill.
Yeah.
And you need to go over before they pass away.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. But never a nice experience that. But
No, no.
at least there is provision, and the government is at least open-minded to those sort of scenarios, and they can, obviously give compassion to those sort of
Yeah,
cases,
yeah.
which is great. All right, Mel. Well, thank you for joining us, and for our viewers, I hope that you've seen at least a little bit more about what our team does and how we help, and we can also help in your cases. So if you've got any questions, be encouraged to reach out and fire away. We can definitely respond quite promptly. That's what we do here at Move Up. Mel, thanks again for joining us.
It's a pleasure.